In this July 27th episode of 3 Tobico, we're looking specifically at summer deals. Homes that already sold at a great price over the last 30 days or so. If you follow me on social media or follow my channel, you may have heard me talk about how the last two interest rate hikes over June and July have really hit the brakes on the Toronto real estate market during a time of year that is already seasonally slow. This has resulted in many buyers taking a step back from the market, with some sellers and their listing agents not knowing what to expect from the market and what buyers might actually be willing to pay for a property. The market hasn't recalibrated in terms of what is the right value for a property, and the bar for price is sort of floating out there in space. This has led to a more pure form of how much a seller is willing to sell a property for and how much a buyer is willing to pay, because there aren't many buyers out there right now. So today, we're going to look at 4665 Dundas St West, a small bungalow in the Kingsway, Chestnut Hills neighborhood that was listed at $799,000 with an offer date and sold for $935,000 on July 21st. A large 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 2-story right around Scarlett and Lawrence that was listed at $1.4 million and sold for $1,275,000 on July 18th. And a spacious 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 2-story on Lake Promenade in South Etobicoke, right on the water, that sold for a very reasonable $3.5 million on July 24th. If this is your first time watching, my name's Jonathan Lee and I'm an Etobicoke real estate specialist. 3 Tobico is a video series that I run weekly where I analyze 3 different Etobicoke properties at 3 different price points. If you're interested in learning more, or you would like to chat about real estate, you can schedule a call with me through Calendly at your convenience by clicking on the link below in the description. Now let's have a look at what some of these lucky buyers got. At the low price point, we have 4665 Dundas St West, which was a small cozy bungalow just east of Islington on Dundas St West. It was listed by Royal LePage Realty Plus on July 11th, 2023, with an offer date of July 20th, and it sold on July 21st for $935,000. Not sure if the offer date was a flop or there was a one-day condition, but this is what was reported on the MLS. Hosting an offer date during a slow market can sometimes go as planned, with multiple offers coming in, bidding against each other, and the property selling fairly well. Or it can also go poorly, with, quite honestly, low showings and very few or no offers coming in. To mitigate the latter from happening, listing agents will often list a property low, certainly lower than what the seller will be willing to accept on the home, but often at a price where anyone who follows the market close enough could say definitively, yes, that property is underpriced. You know, you don't have to be an expert in real estate, but if you know the average price point of a detached house being well above $1 million, and you see a property like this being listed at $799,000, you know definitively, yes, this is underpriced regardless of condition. And it looks like that's what happened here. Nothing wrong with that, fundamentally, in my opinion. It sometimes brings more buyers willing to take a stab at the property and throw a Hail Mary of an offer, in which sometimes it can put more upward pressure on the buyers that are more serious about the property. However, I'm also finding that many buyers, especially these days, they don't want to get carried away competing with other buyers, and sometimes no matter the price, if there is an offer date, some buyers will just flat out not participate, which, if the market is extremely slow, can really hurt your offer date outcome. And there's a possibility that's what happened here. The listing was an estate sale, with the owners having owned the house since 1965, so nearly 60 years in the same ownership, which is an accomplishment, I think. You don't see that too often. It was on a pretty large 40 by 150 foot lot and was listed as a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home with oil heating. This is pretty old oil heating. You probably only see maybe 1% of listings with oil heating these days, and they're pretty much all original estate homes. Oil heating tends to be pretty expensive. Also, I imagine it's less environmentally friendly, and you have to have a tank that holds oil in your basement or dug out in a tank underground on the property. The photos don't show you much, mostly just the lot. I didn't see the property myself in person, so I don't know what condition the property was on the interior. It's possible it was in poor condition on the interior, but oftentimes these sort of estate sales are in very dated but livable condition. Looking at the property through Google Street View through the years, it looks like it was well maintained, well taken care of, that somebody actually cared and loved this home. And if it was taken care of on the exterior, it was probably also taken care of on the interior as well. Dundas Street, as you can see, is of course a busy through street, but this stretch right here, being a divider between Chestnut Hills and the Kingsway, two very prominent neighborhoods, also has many luxury builds on this stretch. So as you can see, kind of just through Google Street View, luxury build. Here are a couple other newer luxury-ish builds. And right next door, you can tell, is a heavily rebuilt home. So land value here is still very high, and this slot, while not huge, isn't small either. For those that are watching me regularly, you may recall I quoted a 25 by 100 or 120 foot lot being valued between $750,000 to $900,000, depending on the neighborhood. This bungalow on a 40 by 150 foot lot, so 1.6 times as wide and about 1.5 times as deep, sold for $935,000 with the house sitting on it. Now that value is almost all in the land, but a property like this, you could buy, lease out the house for probably a minimum of $2,500 a month if it's livable, or you spend a little bit of money, maybe putting in some new laminate and paint it and collect closer to $3,000 a month. And then you build your luxury dream home 3 to 5 years down the line when rates come down. This was a great buy in my opinion. Congrats to that buyer. They got a heck of a bargain on this property. The next home that we have at our mid price point is the Elms. Contrary to its name, it's not in the Elms neighborhood of North Etobicoke, but in the East Humber Heights neighborhood of Etobicoke around Scarlett and Lawrence, right here. The property was listed by Royal LePage Supreme Realty on July 6th at $1.4 million, and it appears the property was taking offers anytime, so it was really priced to sell. This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 2-story home with a 2-car garage, as you can see, and a basement apartment suite. I was curious to its size because it's not like a full-blown executive size 2-story home with like 2,500, 3,000 square feet, but it is MPAC rated at 2,015 square feet with another 1,000 or so square feet underground in the basement, so this is still a large home. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that this property took 12 days to sell and sold for so low, only $1.275 million. It is on the corner of the Elms and faces Scarlett Road, which does have some through traffic and it can be a little bit noisy during rush hour, but otherwise, this isn't too busy of a road, this stretch right here. Lawrence, of course, is much busier, especially as you pass this section going into the Weston area. And some people coming down from the 401 will take Scarlett Road, especially if they're going to travel eastward, perhaps through Eglinton towards Mount Dennis. But outside of rush hour, it's actually pretty quiet. As far as curbside appeal goes, it's mostly just garage, as you can see. The way the property is oriented, it's garage and fence here. So totally understand, kind of decreases its wow factor a little bit. Let's have a more detailed look at the pics. So here you are entering the home. You can see it's got a staircase. This looks like newer floor tiling. Another shot of the entrance. You can see this is a newer door as well. The flooring looks like it's been refinished. Looks like it's definitely got at least a new top coat at the minimum. You can see the kitchen looks like it's been refreshed. It looks like it's been updated. And the bathrooms as well. Here we are upstairs. They've replaced the light fixtures. Newer bathroom here. You can tell even the door hardware has been updated and most of the lights as well. Another shot of the family bathroom, updated. And here you are in the lower downstairs basement suite. Looks like it gets plenty of light in. Newer pot lights as well. This kitchen here looks like it's been updated and has newer appliances. And here we are outside and a shot of the side yard. The home didn't have a high-end reno, but this is an updated home. That basement has an in-law suite. It's really surprising to me that the seller sold for a price that would be similar to what you'd pay for like a dated bungalow in other areas of Etobicoke. And Humber Heights, in my opinion, is a decent area. The property maybe isn't giving you everything that you'd want, siding or fronting onto Scarlett Road, which again is a little bit busier during rush hour. But I think this house is actually most of what an upsizer would be looking for. 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms with that primary ensuite bathroom that everyone covets. And this buyer, they negotiated a price that is 9% down below the listing price, and that tells me that the seller was either very motivated to sell, maybe they had some financial stress or something, or that the listing agent or the seller, or maybe both, they didn't have the sense of what the market value for the property was and what they could actually get for the property. So again, really great deal, really good value. Congrats on this buyer. They got a heck of a deal. So the last home that we're exploring at the high level price point is 155 Lake Promenade, which was listed by Royal LePage, Your Community Realty, for $2.88 million with an offer date back in April. It didn't sell and they suspended the listing a few days after their offer date back in April. And when you suspend a listing, it effectively takes it off the market, off the MLS. But they had changed the status to active again on June 26th, and it received an offer almost immediately within a day or two, selling for 3.5 million here. 155 Lake Promenade is a 2-story, 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom home right on the water on the lake in Long Branch. So this was a custom built home built in 2000 and is listed as being over 3,000 square feet. It's on a 50 by 195 foot lot and also has a basement walkout. So let's go through these pictures. So here we are on the front. You can see the orientation of the house with respect to the lake. It's beautiful. View of the lake from the backyard. You can see nice large windows to capture as much of the lake view as possible. Very nice. Inside the house, you can see it's quite cluttered. Honestly, this house was under prepped. The photos kind of make it look like the photographer just showed up on a day and the seller didn't realize that today was photo day. You know, I advise really anyone that plans to sell their house to declutter, declutter, declutter. The first time I'd actually gone through the pictures of this house, I hadn't realized that it was actually built in 2000s. I thought this was a 1990s custom built home. Just because, you know, everything in here looks older. There's nothing kind of contemporary. 23-year-old house is still pretty new. I mean, some homes 23 years old are still on their original roof, on their original furnace. So I think this house would have really benefited from some staging, from obviously a lot of decluttering. And if the interior is this cluttered, there's a good chance that it could have also benefited from a fresh coat of paint throughout the house. You can't really tell through the pictures, but I'm pretty sure the walls were fairly faded, potentially worn. I think probably the photographer did the best that they could given what they were presented with. The only thing that you can really do is try to take shots of the best features of the home, which is, of course, a shot of the lake. And as you're going through kind of like an unprepared home, a cluttered home, just try to capture the size of the room with respect with the things that exist in it. Yeah, so, you know, I think if the sellers had gone through the effort to prep the home, it would have at minimum sold the first time around. It was listed on the market back in April, but there's also the potential that it would have sold and netted a little bit more than its $3.5 million price point. Still, looking at this home, it's really amazing that you can get a large, livable house on the water in Toronto for under $4 million today, especially one that's built in the last 25 years. Like, this home will absolutely be warmer and more efficient than an 80, 90-year-old home that exists just north of Lake Promenade in other areas of Long Branch, other areas of Etobicoke. And instinctually, when I look at what sells for $2 million to $3 million around other areas of Etobicoke, this seems like such good value just being right on the water. Like, I'm not 100% certain, but I feel like the stretch of homes on the water, residential homes, is probably smaller or around the same length of residential homes that exist maybe along Bloor or along Yonge Street. I don't often look at homes over $3 million, even in Etobicoke, just mainly because I don't have any clients operating at this price point currently. But seeing this sale got me really curious to know if the property sold too low. So I looked up home sales $3 million and up over the last 6 months or so in South Etobicoke, and I was surprised to see that this property actually probably sold within its market value range given its level of preparation and current condition. In South Etobicoke, since February, as you can see here, going by the sold date, there were 4 properties that sold, including 155 Lake Promenade, for over $3 million. This one was in Alderwood. It was a new build, custom home that backed onto a ravine on West Head. It was built within the last few years, over 3,500 square feet. And I'm not going to go through all the details here, but just kind of give you a high level shot of the photos. You can see everything is very new, very modern. It's got this large open concept design, and I'll just give you a shot of the front here and another shot of the rear of the property. So this one sold for $3,050,000 back in February. Of course, you have 155 Lake Promenade, which sold for $3.5 million this past July. The next one was this large bungalow that sold in Mimico, 5 Edith Court. This was, of course, a smaller home. It was built in 1957, so older home as well. It had a larger stretch of the lake, larger lot as well, 95 by 155 compared to 50 by 195, selling at $3.99 million. This was on the market for only 29 days. Going through the pictures, you can see the frontage of the home looks more dated, but as you kind of quickly go through the interior, you can see it is dated, but it actually looks a bit more contemporary than 155 Lake Promenade, which is built in 2000. So staging, decluttering a home, repainting can really take you a long way. This was right on the water, sold for $3.99 million. And the last house was this renovated skinny house sitting right on the water on a 25 by 193 foot lot, so half the width of 155 Lake Promenade. This was on Lakeshore Drive in New Toronto, as you can see here. Also backing right onto the water. Smaller house, 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom, and it sold for $4,050,000. Here you can see through the photos that it was a newer, modern renovation. I'll just quickly skim through them. Interestingly, this house was actually built in 1983, so it was older than 155 the Lake Promenade, but they'd taken the effort, spent the $200,000-$300,000 or so to renovate the property, really make it stunning, make it luxury, and sell that new buyer the dream. So I think that really just goes to show you that if the sellers had spent some money, they likely would have netted a good chunk more. But the buyer probably realized that, and the new owners may decide to capitalize on the property themselves. So that wraps up this week's episode. If you're interested in talking about what deals there might be for you out there, or to chat about real estate, again, you can schedule a call with me through the Calendly link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.